Welcome. Tonight it is the Borough Council meeting work session. It is June 16th, 2026, and it is 6:30 p.m. And we are calling this meeting to order. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Bernie, why don't you take it away?
All rise in honor of America. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, bear with me. I got a couple of announcements here. Yeah, just a few. All right. So, announce the purpose of the June 11th, 2026 executive session. That was for legal matters. B, announce the borough administrative offices will be closed on June 19th, 2026 for the Juneteenth holiday. As well, July 3rd, 2026 for the 4th of July holiday. Item C, a public hearing will be held June 17th, that's tomorrow, at 6:30 p.m., Chapter 104, titled Vehicles and Traffic, to prohibit parking on the north side of Wollerton Street on Monday and Thursday from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Section 104-33, titled Parking Time Limited at Certain Locations, and to amend Section 104-47, titled Parking Meter Zones Established. Item D, a public hearing will be held June 17th at 6:30 p.m. Well, probably one will happen before the other, amending Chapter 80 of the Borough Code titled Peddling and Soliciting, Handbills and Posters, Street Performances, to amend the regulations related to peddling and soliciting. Item E, the Westchester University Master Plan Conditional Use Hearing will be continued to June 22nd, 2026 at 6 p.m. in Borough Council Chambers. Hopefully that part 4 will be the last part of our Westchester University Master Plan series. Crossing fingers, yes, crossing fingers. All right, item F, a public hearing will be held on July 15th, now we're into July, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. to amend Chapter 112 to allow data center and data center campus as uses permitted by conditional use in the industrial district. Item G, there will be a public meeting on July 9th, 2026, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. in room 232 at Borough Hall for the National Foam Cleanup Plan, presented by National Foam Ramball. The public is welcome to attend. And last, item H, announcing the revolutionary flag raising ceremony at Borough Hall on July 1st at 9:30 a.m. Okay, any other announcements? Yes.
Real quick, I just wanted to say, for all who knew, we got some bad news over the weekend. For all who knew, Casey Lalonde, former manager at Worksession Township, he did pass away. And I just wanted to share that news with everyone and just have a brief moment of silence.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to comments. Comments, suggestions, petitions by residents, taxpayers, and visitors in attendance regarding items not on the agenda. Please be advised there's a 5-minute time limit at the discretion of myself.
Kyle Hudson, 202 D Baptiste Lane. I just wanted to come here as one of your neighbors to tell you how much fun I had at the World Cup event that they held on Friday. It was a really, really cool experience. I met 3 guys who drove all the way here from Norristown. I personally am not much of a drinker, but I was still able to have a ton of fun because of the way it was set up. It was very family friendly. I did find out that you guys might be talking about this later, but I just not sure if I'll be able to stay here until then. But I just want to let you know that, like, there is a lot of people interested in this, even if you aren't personally, and the potential to draw hundreds of people, possibly even over 1,000 people to our community. I didn't spend money at Kildare's that night. I spent money at Buddy Burgers and New Haven Pizza, right? So I think that these kind of events, I know that if you could consider doing more of these throughout the tournament, I think it could be a real economic boon to our community, not just for the immediate, but for everyone that stays open during that period.
I just wanted to tack on to your comment because I heard the same thing from others, that it was well received, and that there was actually an expectation that they were going to do this for every U.S. game.
Well,
which I know
would,
was not the case, but you know, I think that the people were excited about it and they wanted to do more of it.
Yeah, well, I just want to say though, I think just U.S. games is short-sighted, because I mean, look at our community. There's thousands of people from around the world that live in Chester County. Those guys drove from Norristown. I mean, you don't think there's a lot of Germany fans in this part of the world? You know what I mean? So I think it shouldn't just be focused on just the American stuff. If we can get as many World Cup events going on downtown through whoever means possible and promote it through downtown Westchester, this is lightning in a bottle. It's never going to happen again. There are people from around the world that flew to Philadelphia and are looking for things to do. And if we can promote that stuff, I think it could really bring a lot of money into the borough over the next month. So just want to say it was a great job, and great job to Parks and Rec. You guys did an awesome job. So that's my piece.
Keith Krowski, Director of Parks and Rec. I was involved with the downtown Westchester and Kildare's and putting that event on. Literally nothing but positive feedback from everyone that came. And the same question was presented to me. Are we doing this for every game, every American game? I said, no, I don't want to be here till midnight for every single game. And obviously we can't show it on the big screen unless it's dark. There has been some very preliminary conversations that Dane from Kildare's and John and myself have had. We would like to do it again. There is potential to do so for night games. We are maybe looking at July 11th. That'd be the next potential possible, depending how things fall into place with who wins and who loses. The next night game that would be feasible. The next U.S. night game is next Thursday at 10 p.m. And obviously the streets aren't already closed on a Thursday night normally, so we wouldn't want to do that and incur any other cost. But just wanted to say it was awesome to be a part of it. It was a really good crowd. It was great. Thanks.
When's the final?
The final is Sunday, July 19th at 3 p.m.
Let Daryl say. He was already creeping his way up here.
Darrell Cook, South Walnut Street. I'm curious if council is considering a way to develop a payback system for the closing of Gay Street. Thank you.
I just want to point out that I don't think any other municipality around here is doing anything like this at all. Like, I know we don't often think of ourselves as competing against Downingtown or Phoenixville or Kennett, but you kind of are. And I don't think any of them have the ability to do anything like that. So it really is a unique opportunity for us to get attention and people in the borough.
All right. Thanks, Saul. And Keith, keep us posted on some of the continued conversations that you have. Any other comments? All right. Seeing none. Borough Manager report.
Good evening, everyone. I want to reiterate my thanks to Borough Council for supporting professional development in the organization and providing me with the opportunity to go to the Pennsylvania State Association of Boroughs Conference that was held in Hershey, PA. And thank you, Jerry and Lisa, for making it up there on Tuesday, it was, right? I hope you found it as rewarding as I did. In addition to the formal presentations and conferences, sessions, I was able to have a lot of informal conversation with colleagues, and there were a lot of elected officials there. I didn't take a survey, but I would say most of the people I ran into were elected officials who were at that conference dealing with same things we are all over the Commonwealth. So it was a great time. I wanted to highlight some things I learned in a legislative session, and my hope is that you will hear enough things from me tonight and see in my written borough manager's report, but there is work being done in Harrisburg that could help us address issues here in Westchester. And it might be in our interest to express that in support to our local elected people, Representative Chris Pielli and Senator Carolyn Comita, and perhaps draft letters of support. In the legislative session that I attended, the Director of Legislative Affairs for PSAB covered maybe 24 bills that are in some stage of approval in the House or Senate. I picked 4 for tonight because they kind of cover things that are of interest to us. The first one is House Bill 985. And one of the co-sponsors includes our own Rep. Pielli. And it is a tax-exempt property municipal assistance act. So municipalities that have more than 15% of their tax base in the tax-exempt status would qualify. So would municipalities that are also the county seat would qualify to access a fund that would be established to offset the missed property tax revenue that we don't get from tax-exempt properties. So, right up our alley, right? That could help. That could help. Even if it started out small, that could help. And I think there's a lesson I learned in the legislative process where they were looking to get some other thing passed, and they said, we're just going to set it up for counties of the second class. And everyone's like, well, what the heck's a county of a second class? And there's only one in the whole Commonwealth. And the thinking was, if we get it passed in one, we get a little toehold in the idea, and it can grow from there. So a little thing I learned about how the sausage gets made in Harrisburg. The second thing was, Dana, you're going to love this one, relief from vexatious and commercial right to know request. Everyone supports this who attended the conference, and that's not, let me say this, I think it, as a leader of municipal administration, I think we all should be trying to get as much information as we can out on the website that's accessible. We can never get 100% of it out there, but we do get repeated, sometimes automatically generated right to know requests. And then we do get quite heavy hitting requests every now and then that come in, and they eat up a lot of our time. And I'm looking at Dana because I delegate that responsibility to her. So she handles all of that. So that's Senate Bill 790. Senate Bill 1318 is a simple bill that would increase the minimum bid threshold for telephonic quotes to $50,000 and public bid to $100,000. I think those are good ideas. I don't know if you share my opinion about that as well. And lastly, a House bill in the House that I wish everyone in this room, I think on this side of the table, wishes had been passed anytime in the last 10 years, because it would have made the university's lawsuit challenging the stream protection fee moot. House Bill 130, and the sponsor there is Representative Justin Fleming, who was at the oral argument at the Supreme Court down in Philadelphia 18 months ago. I don't know if anyone here knows Representative Fleming, but he's in on these stormwater issues a lot. I met him, very charismatic, smart guy, good person to know about these stormwater management issues. And again, Chris Pielli is co-sponsoring this bill, and it would just make it legal for local municipalities and authorities to assess fees based on reasonable and uniform rates based upon a property's contribution to stormwater runoff. So exactly what we had in place the last 10 years. So that's my brief summary. There's more information here to dig into, and I'm looking forward to further conversation and seeing if this has any traction with Borough Council to consider this action and try and get involved up the ladder, so to speak, on legislation.
So Sean, with your proposal at the bottom here recommending that we adopt a motion to support these, I mean, what process are you looking for from us here? Is this something that you think would go maybe on like the ACT committee next month and a suggested number of bills for them to review and potentially support, or?
I think that's appropriate.
I'm thinking the process to say, I think we as a full council have to decide whether we
Or as always,
support
as
it.
always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then as far as the process to either do that or not do that would be through the act.
Through, okay. So let's, if anyone, I don't know if anyone
I just had a
doesn't
question.
like the idea of opposing or supporting.
We wouldn't do it as a packet, though, like a package. We would lump, it would be each one of these and a letter of support for each or a resolution or something.
Yeah, I think a motion for each would be appropriate for council in case there's disagreement on any of them. Plus, there may be ones on the legislative agenda that the 16 or 18 I didn't tell you about in the report or tonight that you might want to consider.
Okay. Any questions? Any questions from those in attendance? It sounds like let's move that to further conversation in the Act Committee next month.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Got it.
Thanks. All right, let's move on to old business. Approve May 18th and 20th Borough Council meeting minutes.
So moved.
All right, everybody good for consent? Yeah, okay. All right, new business. Interview for a vacancy on the Westchester Borough Pension Committee, David Kadushin. Hope I said that right. Probably not.
Second time. Second time, close enough. Good evening, everybody. My name is David Kadushin. I live at 339 West Barnard with my family. Lived in Westchester just shy of 20 years now. I've known Brian for quite some time. And when the initial pension committee came up a couple of years ago now, it spoke to me as a way to get involved with my local community. At that time, there were plenty of candidates, and I was happy to volunteer, and I'm happy to volunteer again. I do have degrees from Temple University and a MBA from Westchester here in town. I've been a retail investor for 25 years, and this is another opportunity to get involved in something that is not only important to the community, but something that also my tax dollars go to. And the police, the non-uniformed members of our community, serve us daily with a few complaints that at least I know about. So supporting them is obviously paramount as we go forward, and hope to live here for many, many years to come with my family. So we want to make sure that they're in good shape, and happy to work here. Any questions I can answer? It's
All
about
right,
the
well-
best interview I've ever had.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you very much. I'll be quiet.
Magic 8 Ball says that looked pretty good there. All right. So then let's move on to the Public Works Committee.
Good evening, everyone. Bernie
So
Flynn.
is that something we're going to put on discussion for tomorrow night to
Yes.
confirm the appointment?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like we always do.
That's all right. Good evening. The Public Works Committee worked on various things this past month. The motion to approve CoStar's quoting for relining the CMP culvert on North Everhart Street. The culvert needs to be repaired. Oh, and Will's going to do a bunch of talking. It says here on the agenda. It was a 3-0 recommendation. So you know what this is. It's down by Giant. We just did a restoration of the stream down there. And it's a little bridge that's there, and it's a corrugated circle underneath of it holding the bridge up. The 3 sides are pretty good. Actually, it's a circle, so there's no sides. But the top and bottom, the 2 sides are still fairly good shape, but the bottom is totally rotted. And we have funds left over from this project right here that Will did the grant for. And they got permission to fix the culvert so it doesn't collapse completely. And there's your circle and rotted at the bottom. So we saw this at Public Works. That's actually stones on the bottom because it's rotted all the way through to the riverbed.
So I think one of the important things to say is that we have a bunch of money that we need to spend from our grant as well, that by September or the end of this year. So So this is a good way to utilize that money. And I think, Will, you checked to make sure we could utilize that money. So
Yep.
there's all sorts of.
Yeah, September 30th is the date. We're going co-stars because we can. It makes it easier. It also helps with the timeline tremendously to do it that way. And the only other thing I would add, great job, Bernie, summarizing. The only other thing I would add is, aside from grant dollars, we also have budget to do this type of work in our budget. So we're checking all the boxes there as well.
Well, reiterate the dollars we're going to use on this.
Sure thing.
My mind says 198,000.
So leftover grant dollars, $233,987. The quote is for $198,000. There'll be a little bit of coordination on top of that with Pannoni PMing the contractor. I would say less than $5,000 there. And the grant is 25% match. So for the contract cost, that comes out to, I had that number right in front of me, but
About $50,000.
I thought it was
Yeah.
30,000. Yeah.
$49,500 is the net cost after the grant.
So, council, are you okay with moving forward with this? So
Yeah,
there's-
it's also on the finance report as well.
Okay, all right, so, Mr. Metric, that's consent for, number one. All right, number two, motion to approve the sale of a wastewater F-250 vehicle on municipal bid with funds being deposited back into the sewer fund. That's a no-brainer. We just put that on the list. If somebody will buy it. I think something's wrong with the engine. Is that true? Yeah, something's wrong with the engine, so it's no good to us anymore. Any issues? Mr. Metric, we have consent.
We need to ask the folks out in the field.
You can.
And any input from those in attendance? Okay, all right, still consent. All right, moving on to public safety.
Two items in public safety this month. Actually like to amend the agenda to move the second item first, which is the motion to the motion to approve the zoning amendment, chapter 112 for smoke vape shops, and discuss item number 1 second, if that is permissible. Okay. So the vape shop ordinance, which is up here on the screen, we had some discussion, a few edits that we'd like to make to this to include other products that you would see besides tobacco, because this almost lists exclusively tobacco. So products like CBD, THC products, Delta 8, potentially other products that you see store at vape shop stores or tobacco stores. So that was one edit that we would want to make to this before moving forward. Another was the use of the products. And I just had a quick, not necessarily concern, but a thought around if we're talking about tobacco shops, traditionally cigar stores had humidors where you would actually go there and they would have club memberships where you would go pick out a cigar and you would smoke it. So
Just scroll down a
item-
little further, Bill.
yeah, let's go down to section 4, number 7,
Right there.
B7.
And I did look into that after you talked about
Yeah.
it. And you're right. What it is the tobacco shops like that can get an exception from the state because of the Clean Air Act already prohibits smoking in the stores. But they can get a special exemption if they go through this process with the state. So you can take that out because it's already covered elsewhere.
Yeah, we could take it out or we could list it as an exemption, potentially.
I would say just take it out because
Okay.
it's already controlled
So
elsewhere.
that was another suggested change. And then the other was, we talked about where the location of vape and or tobacco smoke shops could be located. And we wanted to include distance from a bus stop, because that's what actually, that was the genesis of this whole discussion around vape shops. And, we don't, my thought is we didn't want Westchester to start looking like Melrose Avenue or Ventura Boulevard in California, where it's like every other store is a cannabis shop.
There was one other change.
What was that? Can you remind me?
Yeah, it was, I think this, if you scroll up to the top, I think this just had the commercial, the CS district, and we needed to include the
Correct.
town
We wanted to
center.
expand that to town center. So those were the suggested edits, and the committee, with those changes and those conditions, voted 3-0 to have this moved to the consent agenda. If you all also concede, or if there are any other questions for discussion, please do so.
When you say bus stop, you just
School
mean
bus
school
stop.
bus stop.
School.
Yeah, you don't
Yes.
mean it. Yeah,
Yep.
You gotta.
I automatically go there because I spend a lot of time at school bus stops. But yes, school bus stops.
To the author of this idea, enforcement. How are we going to act, who's going to actually enforce the various things that we are proposing to outlaw or limit in the borough?
I'm assuming it would be like,
Are we going to call in DEA?
we already have, this is just an amendment to this ordinance.
This is zoning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's
zoning.
normal
Okay.
zoning.
I was just wondering how, the enforcement, I guess we'll talk about that during the public hearing.
It's the next one, right?
Any other?
Wait, we already have a vape shop ordinance?
No. This is an amendment to 112,
Yeah, okay. We don't already have something that's for vape shop. Yeah,
expanding the
okay.
language that's
Right,
already
right.
in there.
I ask, is the consensus that you would delete subsection 7, which says smoking shall be prohibited within a tobacco store smoke shop?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have because I didn't quite understand the first thing you wanted to add too. You're adding products?
Yeah, it already has products in there. The one thing it didn't have was THC. And I think that was it, THC. The other things already in there, vapes, electronic devices, tobacco. It has a whole list. Go back up somewhere. Right there, right there. Keep going down. There we go. Vape products, hookah pens, electronic cigarettes, e-cigs, e-pipes, and any, keep going down. This came out of Callan, actually. Electronic nicotine delivery systems. What it didn't have that we noticed was THC type products in there.
Okay, so just in that, I was looking at the red scent.
No.
Confused.
These didn't get incorporated, unfortunately. I'm not quite sure why. We made the changes during the Public Safety Committee, but somehow it didn't get updated. So we're kind of re-updating it now. So the red came from an earlier change.
So does it make sense for us to have all of these updates by tomorrow night before we actually vote on this?
It's pretty simple.
Have it
Sounds-
in writing than what's happening right now, because I don't, the
little-
details aren't tracking for me.
No, we went through this. We went through this already. I don't think we want to do it another month because we can't make a
No, but
couple of
can
edits.
someone send an email to Sean and Tom and get it updated by tomorrow night? Like,
Discussion, and we'll get it done tomorrow night so that we can look at a record that says what we're changing. Is that what you want to do?
That would be fine.
yeah,
Lisa, do you want to take that one? Since you were sort of the champion of this item.
I can do that.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, just so it's super clear, because I mean, yeah, because somebody's got to write it and then it's got to be put into something. Okay.
All right. Any other comments before we move on to the next one? Any public comment?
So one's going to be discussion and two's consent.
Haven't done one yet.
Oh,
We went to two first.
Yeah.
Brian wanted to talk about number two first, and now he's going back to number one.
okay.
Yeah. All right. So, discuss drafting an ordinance to prohibit the sale of kratom and 7-OH in the borough of Westchester. And so there is a draft regarding the ban of the prohibition to sell kratom and kratom products. The 7-OH is actually a concentrated product of the same substance. Question I had was, is this something that we actually should be doing as a council? It's more of a philosophical question, regarding us banning products and whether this starts us down a path of us deciding what we like and what we don't like and banning or allowing permission. And I kind of have I have some reservations, and I wanted to bring this up to discuss in full council to see where the rest of our heads are on this and have a few more voices around potential banning of the substance. There are a couple of others that kind of fit into the same category. Kava is one of them. Another plant-derived drug, if you will, works a little differently. Similar concerns around heavy metals or contaminants that are actually in these products. But I wanted to just open that up to the rest of council to see what questions you have, whether we should move forward with this, or even whether or not this should, instead of an ordinance, take form of a resolution potentially. And the manager's report, we're essentially going to be pushing for those four topics that Sean just brought up. Perhaps this is something that we could lobby some of our representatives, senators, so on and so forth, to have them do this at the state level versus us trying to do this and enforce it at the municipal level. So I'll just open that up at this point.
Of course, you know, I feel differently. and I don't want to go through everything, all the reasons behind it again, but for those of you who haven't, I'll go through some of the top ones. This substance, it's taken from a tree in Southeast Asia. It acts on the same brain receptors as opioids. 7-OH, 13 times more potent than morphine. And according to the FDA, it's been specifically designed to be an opiate and to be addictive. Coroners in multiple Pennsylvania counties, including Chester County, have confirmed there have already been kratom-related deaths. The FDA says you cannot market it as a drug product. You can't market it as a dietary supplement. You can't market it as a food additive. It basically falls through the cracks of current regulations. So you can legally sell it to anybody. There's no control over it at all. How it's grown, how it's produced, how it's packaged, how it's dosed. They make it look like candies, and with flavors like blueberry and strawberry and bubblegum. And because it's not controlled presently, although there have been pushes in Congress to ban the substance, it's been banned in several states, including California. It's been banned in more than a dozen countries, including many in Europe, some even where kratom is produced in Southeast Asia. I saw something in the paper just the other day where Kevin Osterhaus, Dr. Kevin Osterhaus, he's a very famous toxicologist and ER doc in Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. He recently testified in Philadelphia that's considering a similar ban, and told of a young patient who bought what she thought was a crispy treat on the way home from school and wound up on life support. He said, and here's the key, when people buy these products, they have no way of knowing what's really in them or if the dose is right or true, or if there are other harmful contaminants, often called gas station heroin. One final point, PA Health Department has issued a health advisory on this after noting a 1,200% jump in kratom-related calls to poison control centers over the last decade, with 670 cases, no, make that 167 cases reported to the Pennsylvania control centers between 2022 and 2025. This stuff is being sold in Westchester. Why? We know it's a potentially deadly drug with absolutely no regulations. The other things have some regulations around them already. THC, yes, you can buy it. It has to be under a particular concentration. There are strict laws as to how it's grown, how it's produced, how it's licensed, what kind of inspections and testing are done. None of that exists for these products. And as far as having a philosophical, I understand that. You know, do we want to start banning things, as you said, that are perfectly legal? We do that all the time. That's what just about every one of our ordinances does. It's not illegal to mow your lawn at 6 a.m., but we prohibit it. It's not, you know, Airbnbs are not illegal under state or federal law, but we ban them everywhere in the borough except for the town center. Most direct correlation is we ban plastic straws. Plastic straws, deadly drug. If we're going to have, you know, philosophical discussions around a deadly drug or wait for the state or federal government to do something about it, I think that's foolhardy. I think we can be much more responsive. And I'll just leave it there.
All right, any other?
As you're all in the middle here.
I like Mr. Trevor's point to consider it as a resolution. At least the borough would have that much of a stance in it and move it toward more statewide legislation. And it seems like it would be more likely to be approved statewide with the concerns that Councilwoman Kearns has just addressed.
If we have any enforcement at all with a resolution, so we say, hey, we're against it. Kids can still go buy it and with absolutely no constraints. I don't think that we're here to say,
Yeah, I can
protect.
Yeah. You can keep selling. Keep selling, girl. I agree with Mr. Marvin over there. My biggest thing is the enforcement. Many of you know I refereed 35 years in college basketball. And the coaches would make the rules and hand the rules to the referees and say, now enforce them. Well, who's going to go? We're not trained to go into vape shops or cigarette shops or any of the shops. The police are not trained to do that. So I agree with Mr. Marvin, and I'll save my comments for the public hearing. Thank you.
But they are actually trained to do it, and they do it for THC.
I just want to say on the first one, I want to thank my colleague for bringing this to my attention. I had no idea what it was. I do see that there is the attempt to ban them in several counties, if not municipalities. And there's a couple Senate bills and House bills. So, I mean, I'm torn on the one sense, like, how do we enforce it? On the other side of me, it's kind of looking at the overall health and public safety aspect of it. So I'm going to lean towards Councilwoman Kearns on this one, but I mean, you know, I could see that philosophical debate. You know, are we going to send our police officers in there? But at the same time, do we want this type of drug be accessible to children? And I don't think we should.
I'm going to take a moment to weigh in as well. I thought we kind of had this debate last week between Lisa's point and Brian's point. And I thought you guys both made very good points. I was actually torn. I think you both made good points. So I took it home to my cohabiter and I offered it up to him, who also considers himself, he doesn't like government overreach and things like that. So I was curious. And as soon as I said it and I said Kratom, he's like, good. Like he was actually kind of like, this is a bad product and it's worth trying to do something to keep it out of the hands of people that could be harmed by it. Because I know that, and I feel that I've seen different, I watched John Oliver and I saw a whole presentation on the impact of the drugs and all the things that you're saying. And seeing other reports that you've sent over to us. I actually, too, I think you made good arguments on the side of enforcement. It is going to be a little tricky, but I also tend to lean towards, why don't we at least try to do a little something to get it out of the hands, and maybe we're trailblazers at this point because we just don't know what's there. There's a lot of impacts that we don't know about with this drug yet.
Actually, I will say something. I just think I agree with a lot of the points made, but I think Lisa makes the strongest argument. To Brian's point, we know it's dangerous. And at least in terms of enforcement, I don't think anybody's expecting police to go in there every day and check every day. But I think at least we have something written down. People know what our stance is on it. It also makes a statement about our perspective on the safety of it. So I think it's important just to make that statement. I think a resolution really is kind of toothless. I agree there as well.
I just wanted us to give it a little bit more thought. I was definitely split. I think the resolution for me personally is the right way to do it. We could use it. We could still show, because I would absolutely be 100% behind a resolution.
I think we could do both.
So the resolution is kind of like the ordinance we did on
287G.
287G.
Yeah.
The resolution means nothing really, except we say, hey, Kratom's bad.
No. We could do both.
We absolutely,
No,
that absolutely
we
means
can-
something,
in which
because we
case
can
that
use it to
resolution-
take to our representatives and
Correct.
our senators to say, here, we are unified. We're a unified front. We think that this product is bad. And then, that may give a little bit more ammunition to getting this thing done at the state level. That's my point.
I don't
So-
disagree with that.
So I think what I'm hearing is right now, at least 4 of us are supportive of doing an ordinance. Resolution is another conversation, but at least 4 of us sitting here are in support of an ordinance. So I would recommend figure out what you want that ordinance to be. I know you have some examples, but
This is just to the draft ordinance that we have.
Yeah.
The vote here would be to go to have the attorney draft an ordinance that we would then vote on.
okay. So
Well, it's discussion.
yeah,
This is for
if
discussion.
that's the
So
question.
technically, we would have to take this probably back to the Public Safety Committee. No, well, we do have to update the ordinance.
No. This is simply to empower Kristen or Tom to draft an ordinance, just like we always do.
Correct, but there are items on that ordinance, that supplemental ordinance that you sent that I think need to be worked on as far as fines.
Yeah, but again, we could do that next. I mean, I'm not saying don't do it on discussion, but
So
I don't think it has to go back
So
to
you
public
wanted to,
safety.
well, it would have to go back because he would have to draft it, go
Yes.
through public safety and then,
The point here would be to have them draft it, which then would go to public safety and then to.
The motion would be to direct the solicitor to actually do the ordinance. This is just Lisa's draft for example purposes. And so that would be on for discussion tomorrow night and go to a vote because we don't have consensus right now. So we can go on
Yeah,
consent.
that's fine.
correct.
Correct.
All right, you guys got that? All right, cool. Discussion. Okay. Parking committee.
There were some additions, a few little minor important additions to the Chapter 104 section that's going to be reviewed tomorrow. I just wanted to highlight what they are. The first is a forward-facing vehicle parking, that they don't want people to back into a parking space because we won't be able to read their license plates. Yeah, so we would like to stress that you should park forward. Yeah. The addition about loading zones. There are two types of zones. One will be a 15-minute free parking zone, and another will be a truck loading zone. These will be added to the Chapter 104. There are some ride share spaces that are no longer used, and they will be removed. We're discussing still, I think, on what the first Fridays were. Do we want to include Gallery Walk, Black Friday, and Small Business Saturdays? We were going to update metered and leased lots so that the names match. There will be also addition concerns related to parking time limits, charges for hours of operation for various parking lots. And the final consideration was for information needed from the police for abandoned warehouse vehicles, expired inspections, trucks, and oversized vehicles. And this was approved 3-0 at the last meeting.
The one thing I'm going to object to is backing in. Like, I know a lot of people that back in, and I back in because it's safer to get out. And you could see the oncoming traffic. I think that's going a little bit too far. So I would like for us to maybe rescind the backing in. I mean, unless you're telling me that these people in parking can't somehow go around to the back of a car, which I highly doubt.
That's exactly what happened. What's going on is the people are actually backing up as close to the walls they can get. And you can't read the license plate to check to see if they've actually paid for the stuff. So that's why Ramsey mentioned that for us to discuss. Because you can't read the license plate because it's too close to the wall.
I understand that, but
So either you approve a modification and put bumpers in so they can't back against the wall, but we can't check the stuff in the parking garages or in some of the parking lots.
And I would say there are a lot of places that have made this rule when I go to park, except it's the same rule that you have to pull in, you can't back in. I don't think that we are unique in creating this rule for our parking locations.
As you drive through the flat lots, if you're up against the wall, they can't read your license plate. So, but if you pull in, the car driving through at nighttime can actually read everything where it can't if you're backed against the wall on purpose.
I guess, I don't know. I mean, I just totally disagree with that.
You don't, that's fine. You don't have to agree, but Ramsey wants us to make for her tonight, I think on all the points that you.
Yes.
So do we need to run through them each one by one and
If you'd
starting
like.
with, so
The committee voted 3-0 to approve it.
to approve which,
All of these.
so the committee voted 3-0 to approve no backing in, although it sounds like here tonight we don't have consent
So go
on
for
that.
discussion.
Yeah, so that one's got to go to discussion tomorrow. All right, what was the second one again?
Loading zones, there will be two types of loading zones. One will be for 15-minute free parking, and the other will be a truck loading zone.
I love the 15-minute free parking zones. I think we're gonna have one in every block, which is, I think is great. For those quick trips and for dropping off those that might need to be dropped off and be closer to wherever they're going.
Everybody's good there?
There are going to be removal of some ride sharing spaces. I guess this has been an antiquated practice in the past that they decided just to remove. They're no longer used. Okay.
All right, yeah.
First Fridays, does the council want to include Gallery Walk, Black Friday, and small business as First Friday for free parking? beginning at 4 p.m.
Do we already, what's the change there? We do already include it, that we're moving the hour up, or we're just making it an
Whether or not-
evergreen approval, or
Whether
what's?
or not to include it anymore.
It's because every year we have to keep coming back. So this would memorialize that.
Yeah, to make it evergreen, I guess that's kind of the word I use.
And
but
I think to add on to your parking, we should memorialize every year the FOP, so they don't have to keep coming back.
That's not on here.
I know, but for future.
If Ramsey happens to be
Just looking out for our
listening.
All these changes will be fully reviewed when we do the ordinance amendments, but I need to include in the draft. That's coming in from Brewer Stadium out in Milwaukee.
So why don't you, there's metered and leased lots, the names for these lots have been changed. They just wanted to match the signage so that people know where the lots are to be leased. This will also, I didn't mention, will include Borough Hall lot.
So this is just changing like the numbers to the names in the actual code.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, we need to do that.
Yeah, the signs are already up saying Gay Street parking lot. We still call it Spaz lot.
Yeah. Thank you. Parking lot time limits have been discussed in the past. We want to add certain hours, but they also want to include employee parking for the Borough Hall use. It doesn't need to be enforced right away. It's just added to the conditions of Chapter 104. This also includes Lot 3 on New Street Lot, which change permits to monthly permits from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Everyone's effect, that lot is directly across the street from the mural right
Correct.
now that were just installed. And people were paying quite a bit of money to use that lot, to reserve the lot, whether they used it or not.
And the final,
Sorry, what are the hours there today?
pardon, 8 a.m. to 5?
So that's what you wanted to change it to 8 AM to 5,
Yeah, permits from 8 a.m. to 5.
right? What is it today?
I'm not sure, actually.
Okay.
Ramsey.
Ramsey, what is it today?
No,
She
she's at it.
started with us. She started with us.
Actually, Ramsey and Monica are currently at a conference to discuss parking and, you know, she'll be back Thursday.
It's 8 to 5,
So it's 8 to 5 today, and she wants to change it to 8?
but it's annual permit, not monthly.
And raise the rate to meet leased spaces.
Okay, this was I remember this now. It was that, like, there was a student and the student had an annual and they were moving out early and they had to transfer their permit or something. And
Right.
she's saying if it was monthly, they could just not have a permit the next month and
Right.
somebody else could just get it. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So it's changing the month, the annual to month. Okay. I understand.
Thank you.
I still don't quite understand the first bullet here under 5. What do we want to include Borough Hall to start charging parking?
If we determine to do that, yes. Right now, it's not going to be enforced right away, but the idea is that Borough Hall space is being used for parking, and
Okay. After hours, you mean, or?
I believe so.
At some point in the future. Yeah, this was like a placeholder, I think.
Yeah, I don't think she wants to enforce anything right now.
So
I just wanted to be in
there.
in the ordinance, in the chapter, so that it can be weighed in and considered without having to reinvent everything.
So people are using the spots here for
I wouldn't be
Borough Hall
surprised.
business.
I don't, yeah,
Okay, so this is going to limit that.
correct. Or enforce it a little differently.
Friends from Milwaukee
For more.
want to keep Borough Hall lot reserved in case of development starts nearby.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ramsey. Thank you, Ramsey. And the final point was information needed from the police. Police need to determine about abandoned vehicles and warehousing of vehicles in the streets, expired inspections, trucks, and oversized vehicles.
So am I understanding correctly from Borough Council, everything but the no backing in, we are good with the making the changes? Just the no backing in? All right, all right. Does anybody have any questions from out in the field?
I just have a question for what number 7? It just says other items from council. So it's a placeholder for something. Is that for us to bring up other items?
Leave the options open, right? There was no additional items to include at that point, but they just, I guess, leave the options open.
All right.
I told Monica to take the phone off of Ramsey.
Yeah. But Ramsey, you got what you need?
Like we have consensus to take care of numbers 2 through 6, keep 1, hold that in abeyance. So when we do make a better draft of this ordinance, we can have that conversation when it comes time to vote on it.
Yes, that's.
Any other questions, concerns?
All right, finance. Thank you.
Motion to rescind the 2026 paving award to T. Schieffer Contractors and award the 2026 contract to Long's Asphalt for a total base bid of $243,587.35. There is no committee recommendation. What happened here, there was an error within the bid. The original contractor that won the bid, T. Schaefer, has been deemed as not a qualified contractor with PennDOT. And there was only a $600 difference between Long's Asphalt and Marino Corporation. We did have some discussion. There are a couple of us that know Marino, and we know Glasgow that has done work within the borough, and they've done a great job. And I believe we have representative from Pannoni here and Don Anderson that could speak about the bid.
Don Anderson, Director of Public Works. Yeah, everything you said is true, but we need to award the bid to Long's Asphalt. We can't arbitrarily just change the bid based on the amount of money that the difference is. It has to be awarded to the next responsible contractor, and Long's Asphalt is a responsible contractor based on Pannoni's investigation of them.
And with that last week, they didn't have all their paperwork in. That's why we couldn't make that recommendation. Is that paperwork in?
Hi, I'm Megan Stare from Pannoni. Yes, so T. Schaefer they are PennDOT pre-qualified, but only as a subcontractor. Per the requirements of PennDOT, in order to do this and make it fair bidding practices, you have to be a prime contractor pre-qualified with PennDOT, and Long's Asphalt is.
Do we have all the paperwork?
We
At the
do.
last meeting, the paperwork wasn't here, but we do have all the paperwork.
We do. We have
Is
all
that
of that.
correct, Mr. Metrick? Did you see the paperwork? Okay.
And we spoke with Kristen Camp as well to review all of the documentation.
Okay. With that, looks like Long's Asphalt will be awarded the bid here. Or any comments? Any public comments? Okay, we can move that to consent. All right, motion to approve budget modification 26-4 for capital improvements to splash pad at John O'Green Park. This increased cost for the project exceeded budget. I think we're roughly near 100,000 in the increase of this project, and there was no committee recommendation. Yes.
The last time Keith was here and he started talking about the project, he had mentioned that he had reached out to Public Works for us to assist him with the project. I totally made a mistake because I didn't get up and say Keith had reached out to me for a pour in place removal as well as the asphalt. So I apologize to you, Keith. He did reach out to Public Works for us to assist him with everything. So I just want to let you all know.
Evening, Keith Karowski, Director of Parks and Recreation. Last week, during the Finance Committee meeting, we had this discussion regarding the over budgeting or the project being over budget. After we had that meeting, Councilman Flynn had some poignant questions he would like answered. I did my best to get those answers from our potential contractor, the engineers, and the manufacturers. Those questions are answered on the second page and the back of the second page. I've also included some general warranty information from WaterPlay, the features they use, and then the actual estimate from the contractor that specifies some of the information Don just talked about. And just want to say kudos to Don. He's a stand-up guy, and him and I've already had a conversation. It's just a miscommunication. That's all. So I'm happy to answer any questions I can to the best of my ability regarding the project. Basically, there are no new incurred costs per the estimate that's based there along with the equipment. The only potential for that would be the remediation of the soil that we pick up at John O'Green, which is below the 24-inch line of quote unquote demarcation. That is only going to take place in 6 locations that are around the footers of the new splash or spray features. So everything else will be above the 24-inch line. The only place we'll be digging will be a 2 by 2 foot square where these new mounts go into the ground. So it'll be a minimal amount of soil that is below the line of demarcation. Now, anything we do have to test, Pannoni is capable of doing that, but that's not included in the paperwork that they have submitted to DEP. That is literally just the paperwork we've got to submit to say that we are going to go below that 2 foot line.
How much would that cost?
I don't have a number on that.
Unfortunately, it really comes down to the scale of the project and the layout and how many test locations. We can, now that we have all the final details and the locations, we can get that prepared and work with our environmental engineers on that. But as of right now, we do not have a number for the scale of that.
So everything is going to exceed the 95,000 then.
Potentially. It's if we have to test that soil. I don't know how that works.
You have to test it.
I would leave
Per
it.
the DEP.
Well, again,
And our covenant.
well, again, the whole thing that we're submitting to the DEP is in charge of that covenant. That we're basically telling the DEP that we are going below this line. I don't know how it all works from there. That's why I rely on the engineers.
I think my question is this. If we are renovating this park on a deeded site by the DEP.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And we know that excess water is going to come out, potentially could be contaminated.
No.
We don't know yet. It
No.
could be.
Well, again, just like we have the current, there's no water that's been contaminated from what we're using currently.
But my thing of it is it's going to exceed the 95,000. You know, from my perspective, you know, at this park, I have no issue with renovating the park, but why not contain that splash pad to maybe make it a little bit smaller and upgrade other parts of the park that needed to be upgraded? Because there was, what, 100,000 that was put into this roughly 10 years ago. And we know that other splash pads in other municipalities don't wear as well. If you want to speak to the microphone. Yeah.
This is the beginning of a 2-phase project that's laid out in the pros plan that we've been working at for about 1.5 years to almost 2 years. You remember around March of last year, I came to you for a resolution for a grant that we submitted to the People, Parks, and Community Foundation. Unfortunately, we didn't get that grant. So we have been working at this, and what we're doing currently, this, I think Mr. Travis might have mentioned it last week. This is not a Band-Aid. This is a complete overhaul. This park will look significantly different. Again, hopefully we get the grants we just recently applied for, which is $350,000 in grant funding from the state and from the county. That would take care of phase 2, which is literally the rest of the park outside of the splash pad. And I had that in the second document. I gave that to you with a bit better layout of how we're trying to go about things. Again, I won't know if we get those grants from the county or the state until probably the first quarter of next year. But in the interim, I think in the best interest, this park has been band-aided for numerous years. The most recent, and I can't stress it enough, when we had those extremely hot days and extremely cold nights, it was the final straw that broke the camel's back. The area that's now fenced off, I'm working on getting other fence quotes, which will come from our general park maintenance budget to just block off the water play splash pad area so that the swings and the play structure are still available for the children to use. If we can get this project done and installed this coming fall, so that literally on May 1st of next year, we can hit the button that this thing is a brand new splash pad. And then at that point in time, we'll also know whether or not we've got the grants to move ahead with phase 2 of the project, which, like I said, is the remainder of the north side park. And there are significant improvements to that as well. We've had the meetings with the folks at the park. We've had the meetings with the pros plan folks. I think it's a very worthwhile project that, and a park that doesn't have a very large advocacy group that really needs to be addressed, that we've done everything we can by our means internally. We've had, like Mr. McGinnis mentioned, we've replaced the port in place rubber, and that was a significant cost. We're doing away with that. That's gone. That, when we installed this park 25, 27 years ago, whatever it was, that was industry standard. That's not the case anymore. So that's why we're going with the brushed concrete that'll be significantly more maintenance friendly. And hopefully, we don't have to worry about it for the next 15, 20 years, or at least until my retirement, because I don't want to have to worry about it. That's, in my opinion. Good, sir.
The total package you're looking up on that screen there is 98,000, right?
Yes.
How much money do you have?
We had originally budgeted $118,000 this year. I believe, Barb can correct me, I'm not sure on the number, but I believe there was an assumption made on rec fee in lieu of
Okay.
that we did not meet because projects were not started. So I think the whole cost of the entire project this project is 163 or 165,000
For the splash pad?
for everything regarding
No,
the splash
no,
pad.
it's Splash pad.
The splash pad, yes, sir.
Okay, it's 98,000 for splash pad?
No, the splash pad is not 98,000.
Okay,
What's
how
that?
much is-
I just said the whole splash pad is 165.
I thought you said that.
Yeah.
165,000. How much money do you have?
I'd let Barb speak to the numbers specifically.
I'm trying to figure out your ask.
Yeah, I'm confused.
She's better
I'm
just better
looking
at the
at
numbers
this
than I am.
47,000 here, and then I'm looking at the 90, whatever, so.
Assumption, the shortfall
for the
assumption of the rec fee.
So why is it that, why is that a me problem? If we don't have the money to do it, why is it a me problem? And why can't we put it off till we have the money? Okay, Paul Harvey, the rest of the story. All right.
So if you, in looking at the capital fund that was prepared for 2026, there were certain assumptions that we put into this budget to meet the needs for the recreation department. One of them being that we would have cash on hand in our recreation in lieu of account of $95,000. And part of the assumptions that we made is we assumed that some of the big projects would come to fruition this year. And I don't think that that's going to happen. So as of today's date, in our recreation in lieu of cash account, we only have $44,000. So that means right off the bat, the projects that Keith has budgeted in his budget they're under revenue by $50,000. So that's where the $50,000 is coming on the budget modification. And then the project for JOG, we had budgeted $118,000, but now it's 160,000 up to $160,000. So that's where the difference is coming in. The $45,000 difference.
Barb, what tree are you going to go outside and start picking to get the rest of the money?
So the way that we're going to fund this overage is there's a project in here for Hoops Park for $20,000 that it will have to be moved forward to next year. And then we have some savings on the Gay Street project. We're estimating about $75,000 in savings on that. So that's how we're going to fund this.
You're a miracle worker. Yeah. And Keith gets away with it. Oh, well, as to Mr. McGinnis's point, we should probably be looking to scale back, but you're robbing Peter to pay Paul here to get this thing done. It needs to be done the right way. And I significantly challenged this project. So if you found the money, taking it from someplace else, it'll work for me at that point. So.
Yeah, I mean, I walk past that park all the time, and I swear, I mean, I haven't done an official calculation, but per square foot, the amount of children that play in that park is like significant. And I would say if you did a ratio across all our parks, that is one of the parks where the most children play per square foot. And to keep that going and up and running and looking good and drawing people with the water feature, if the money's there and you can make it work, I too think that we should go for it before the costs start to go up.
Yeah.
My opinion.
I'm sorry, just clarification. There's a shortfall from the original budget of like between $45,000 and $50,000, right?
Yeah, there's a shortage. Well, there's a shortage in revenue.
All right.
So he's not going to have enough money to fund the projects that are in his capital budget. And then the expense for the playground project is over budget. So it's a twofold problem that we're trying to fix here.
Okay, I'm sorry. So what was the revenue shortage?
The revenue shortage was $50,532.
Okay, so hence the 95,000 will cover both.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then one final point here, if Pannoni tests, then you're going to have to come back again. Is that correct?
We will work, so we went through a few iterations. During the last few months, we've worked with the playground vendors and the splash pad vendors to see if there was a way we could stay above that 24 inches. So we didn't have to go to DEP and test. And by weighing those options, it is still cheaper to do the DEP work and the environmental covenants and the testing, because the cost of it would be a very large concrete foundation was just exceeded even more money than what we're anticipating. So now that we've determined which steps we're going to take, we can go and move forward with DEP, process the paperwork, and determine what testing is needed.
Thank you. And Barb, are you going to be able to find that bucket?
So we would pay for that difference out of the park maintenance line item in Public Works, which is GL 45430. As of the last reporting, as of May 31st, we still had $39,000 in that line item. So we would have enough money to pay for the testing as well as the fencing that Keith needs.
Thank you, Barb.
Just one other thing to reiterate, the DEP goodies that they're doing now would have to be done eventually at some point in time. Hopefully we get the grants and everything for phase 2. So we have to do them at some point in time and incur those costs.
We're supposed to be doing it every January.
Keep saying that, yes.
January. I have a question for the engineer. Is the splash pad, since we're only going to go down 24 inches, how's that work with the frost line? Are we going to get heaving of the concrete?
No, that is something we discussed. The splash pad.
Rebar will crack as well.
The splash pad vendors are actually from Canada, so they have a lot of experience with this work. There was a lot of discussion on this, so they have exact specifications that we are going to review as well before anything is approved. But that's been a discussion topic already.
Because I'm worried about the freeze thaw.
Yes, and I do believe we reduced the height of some of them just for the. Yes.
We need your name on that, guaranteeing that the freeze thaw will not crack that element. Under errors and omissions, Mr. Ostay, you hear that? Errors and omissions. So we're off the hook if the damn thing breaks again. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Barb. You're a miracle worker. And any further discussion up here?
I'm satisfied. I think Keith, you took us through a level of detail that we didn't see before, and I was just concerned that we didn't have all of our diligence done. And so I appreciate you bringing all the additional support information. And Barb, thank you for explaining that we do have money from other places where we can pull. We're not dipping into the general fund or something like that. That's what I was interpreting it as before, and I didn't feel comfortable with that because we're really nervous going into budget season this year. At least I am. I think some of us are as well up here. So thank you.
I know what we're doing. I know what we want to get there. I may not be the best at articulating it every time, but at the same time, I think, and I really do believe that in the end result, when you see this and your children, your grandchildren are playing on it, you'll be extremely happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. Any public comment? Any further public comment? I guess we could call this a 7-0 decision, move to consent. All right, motion to approve the following purchasing requests. VIPR, that is Plate Logic, $11,200. Able Recon, North Everhart Stormwater Culvert, which we already discussed, $198,000. And McClory Company, that is replacement of an air conditioning unit at the wastewater facility, $17,985, all 3-0. Any comments? Any public comments? Thank you.
All right, smart growth.
Okay, we have a total of 6 HARB applications. We'll start with 5 that we're asking for approval, that were recommended for approval rather by the committee. Certificate of appropriateness. The first one was 21 West Washington. This is the Washington Street School Apartments. They initially wanted to paint the existing window trim black, but the committee recommended use of a similar color to what's there, which is more of a sandstone or beige. So that's the recommendation. Okay. The next one is 104 East Gay Street. There's a sign, Cutter and Cannon sign, that will be using an existing bracket. It's similar in size and scale to what's there today. It will be raised a few, I think about a foot to get it 8 feet off the ground to meet code. Questions? Okay. Next one is 125 North Church. Again, it's a replacement of a sign. It's very similar to the one it replaces, and HARB recommends approval for that one as well. 113 West Chestnut. This is an exterior renovation. There is a mural on the side of the building that they want to paint over. They also want to add about a 1-foot wall to enclose a garden in the front of the building. The committee recommends this for approval, but they regret the painting over of the mural, and they are encouraging the applicant to retain it if possible.
May I just say that breaks my heart.
That was exactly what the committee said. It breaks their
Cover
heart.
up that mural. It's a beautiful work of art that so many of us watched all summer as it was painted by the Westchester University student and the children in the Friends Association shelter. You know, they would dip their, I'm going to cry. They would dip their little hands in paint and put their little handprint on the wall to just show they were here and they're important. And it's just to see that painted over and just made this blank navy blue dark wall. It's just tragic. Apparently, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, so the residents understand. Part of the PAC, which is Public Arts Committee, there's a clause in there that says if the building is sold, the new owners have the right to either retain or remove the building, so they're not stuck with whatever's on the side of their building. So, you know, it's a landmark right now, but if it doesn't fit the business model, whoever's buying it, you know, it's in the ordinance there.
Excuse me. And the last one for approval is 129 East Gay. Multiple exterior renovations for a new business that is moving in. They're adding a sign, which is appropriate. They are replacing a window. They're replacing a door in the back and painting the side of the walls. And the committee recommends approval for that as well. Okay, any questions? Okay, and the next one is to deny an application. So this is for 20 West Chestnut Street. So the owners want to demolish the existing garage, and Harb denied this request. And there are multiple reasons. The applicant requested it, saying that it's in terrible shape, but the committee really noted that it was sort of almost demolition by neglect in some respects. But they went in with an engineer and checked it out and recognized that there are things that can be done to save it. There's a garage directly next door to it, literally less than a foot away. It's practically touching it, which is in fine shape. And taking a look at both of them, they believe that there's no reason it can't be renovated.
If I may, your code requires that the applicant be given an opportunity to comment on this application if there's a denial. I don't know whether the applicant's here or not. I thought they might be. So they can comment if they want to.
So our office is there, Bagelman Realty. That garage has been there, although it's in rougher shape than the one next door. It is in fact newer than the one next door. We went there with codes. The building is racking. It's actually falling into Kuma. The masonry is given way. The trusses are gone. The ledger cap is gone. And it's $9,000 to tear down. We got an estimate for $45,000 to repair it. It is beyond repair. So we just, it's unsafe. People sleep in there. We put locks on, people break in, people defecate in there. She almost ran somebody over sleeping in a sleeping bag. Police had to remove them. It's just become a nuisance for us, and we would just prefer it be torn down for safety. And Aaron was there. It's his opinion that if it's not taken down, it will fall down in a matter of months. So
Share with us, you're the owner of the building?
No.
We are not. We manage it
Oh,
for
you
the.
manage it?
Mhm.
All right, if they tear it down, what do they plan on doing with the pad?
The pad is part of the removal with diplomat demo.
So it's going to go back to grass?
Gravel.
Gravel.
Yeah.
To keep parking for the tenants of the building.
It's our office on the first floor. There's also 4 other units above it. They currently have no parking. So I know the tenants would appreciate parking. Tom Committa's next door.
It'll help with stormwater too, because it won't be concrete anymore.
Love that.
Right? Had to throw that in there for you.
How long has the owner owned this building?
His mom owned it since the 40s.
And he got it when she passed in the 90s.
That's not helping his, if you just said like 2 years.
No, we've been at this
50
for a little
years.
while. We actually had Mr. McGinnis's brother look at it for masonry work at that point. He
said
didn't
tear it
even
down,
want to
too.
touch it.
Yeah, he said tear it.
I had no idea he looked at that.
Yeah.
I swear to God, full disclosure, I had no.
I didn't want to connect you to
I know,
that,
well,
so.
I know. I
Not his brother at all.
No, they don't know this guy.
And the Harb engineer who looked at it, or architect, said he barely stopped in, was there for 30 seconds, took a quick look while he was drinking coffee. Aaron spent half an hour there, looked at it, examined it. It's his opinion as well. It should be taken down.
We're not bound by what
Harb.
Harb actually
Right.
says.
Yeah.
But we always try to respect everything because they are the history back of the borough.
Right.
And they try to maintain, continuity through the borough. I hate to go against Carol, but I want to hear from our building director to see exactly what his opinion is.
Okay.
Aaron Fluck, I'm Director of Building, Housing, and Code Enforcement. And um, Thursday, after our smart growth meeting, the solicitor reached out to me and said, does Building and Housing agree that this is not an imminent failure? I said, we haven't gone out to look at it that.
I'm sorry, say again, she asked you.
Imminent failure.
Imminent failure.
We did not look at it in that way. The inspector that went out for that was doing an inspection on the properties and noted that it was in bad shape and recommended that it be repaired, replaced, or demolished. And left that up to them to get experts to come in and determine which one needs to be done, which is typically what we do. To help the solicitor and to figure out whether or not we felt it was an imminent failure, I went out and looked at it. Just to give you an example of my certifications, I am a registered BCO. I'm also a building inspector certified through the ICC. I have over 35 years of inspecting buildings and done over 15,000 inspections for residences, commercial buildings, structural issues, and I have been accepted as an expert witness in Allegheny County, Indiana County, Washington County, and Fayette County for structural concerns and structural condition. So I went out and took a look at this just to give an idea of whether or not it was an imminent failure. A number of things that I noted is that if you go to that picture right there, you will see that not only is the center post out of plumb, it is actually racking, which means that the entire building is shifting to the left. An out of plumb support post, every degree it goes out of plumb weakens by about 10% the ability to transfer the weight down into the soil, because you're not going down straight. Your weight goes straight down, and when you have a piece of building out of straight, it doesn't go the whole way down the support. It shortens the distance or span of it. So that initially tells me that it has some severe structural issues. Also, when I went inside, not only is the cap sill, which is at the top of the cement wall, in the front right-hand side, rotted. It's completely rotted out and missing. It's deteriorated to dust at this point, which has caused the rafters, the first 5 or 6 rafters, to have excessive damage. That's the cap sill that's not there anymore. The rafters have now slid off of the wall almost 3 inches. There's only about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of the rafter actually holding onto the wall, which would, with any decent snowfall over about 5 to 10 inches, could carry enough weight to cause that to collapse. If you go further, there were excessive water penetration through the roof in several spots, especially in the right-hand edge of the roof's eave. The actual solution that they put on there, they put a trough in between the 2 garages to try to capture the water and move it out to the other side, is actually retaining water. And that's what's causing the excessive rot. Deterioration of the cement wall along the back. If you go down further, it doesn't, keep going. There. Looking at this picture to this side, on the right-hand side at the bottom, the cement has deteriorated to the point that I could take a stick or a piece of rotted wood from the inside of the garage and shove it 6 inches underneath the foundation, right at soil level. At this point, it's my professional opinion that this is in a state of imminent failure, just from the racking and from the front joists and rafters. So at this point, I would not pass this as being safe for public. So I would prefer this to be demolished and dealt with accordingly.
Aaron, thank you for your opinion. I think moving forward, and I agree with you. I mean, you know, with what you're saying, and I trust your expert opinion. But when is it going to be that HARB would coordinate with you beforehand? That way that they can make an assessment also based upon safety standards. Because the last thing we want is someone walking by there, that get knocked down in a Kuma or whatever other building it's connected to and injuring someone.
If you read the ordinance that creates HARB, there's supposed to be someone from my department going to that meeting every month. I have not been doing it because of the number of meetings that I've been doing each month. It was just a little bit too much for me to get done. However, I'm going to try to make the meetings for that, at least for the beginning of it. But I also told them that if they have a situation in this case, that they are to reach out to me and let me know, and I will go out and review it for structural issues, for whether or not it poses a public health risk. That's part of my job. And
No,
I'm
and thank God you're doing that too. So I appreciate that. So I'm going to say, I think it should be demolished.
I got a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
How do we get to the point? I mean, if the owners owned this since the 90s, right? Like parents aside that owned it before, like how did this structure get to this state? Like how, like why?
I do agree that it is demolition by neglect. It was not taken care of as it should have been. Things could have been done, but we are 10 years past the date when those repairs should have been made. Having an actual capsule, which the rafters sit on, disappear and turn to dust, that takes, I replaced my roof on my garage. It had been leaking for 6 months and I still had everything solid, just a little bit of rot around the edges. For this, it would have had to have been 5 to 10 years of consistent water and nobody doing anything with it. I would say probably 10, 15 years is when those repairs should have been made previous to this.
So do we have a process to like should this have fallen under like the usual inspection process, or why would this fallen under the regular?
It did. I don't know what happened before I got here. This inspection, it was caught in this inspection cycle. This is the first inspection cycle since I've been here. And it was recommended that it be reviewed and that you determine whether it needed repaired, replaced, or demolished, which is actually what we had recommended. They had it reviewed by, they didn't have it reviewed by a structural engineer per se. They had a structural engineer for another reason there. And they looked at it real quickly, but didn't write a report because it would cost a lot more money to do the report. They were there for another reason. But even having a contractor or a carpenter look at this, they would have been a significant enough individual to give an opinion as to whether or not it needed to be repaired or replaced. So I can't say what happened previously before me taking over, but my inspectors did find it this time, and that's where we came to this.
So there's process in place, you're saying, to inspect not only this building, but buildings like it around the Harb area. There's like, I know we've talked about like fire inspections for like restaurants and things like that. And we need to do set up processes to be a little bit better on certain different types of inspections. But you're saying the process is there. For some reason, this building fell through the cracks, but we have a process out there to make sure there aren't other buildings out there waiting to fall through the cracks.
Not only process to make sure that these don't fall through the cracks, but if they did, to review the process again and to see where the failure was made. That's part of this. Is there has been a huge commitment by this council in training of our code enforcement officers. You tripled our budget for that, and we have been trying to use that appropriately. We have gotten certifications for one of our inspectors who actually was the individual who found this situation, and we are pushing our other 2 inspectors through those same certifications. We have classes and staff meetings now where we go over these properties and actually discuss them and determine, what you're looking for, why you're looking for it, what does this indicate? Not so that they can come in and say, yeah, you have to demolish this, but yeah, this is a key indicator of an issue. You have to have it reviewed and determine whether it needs to be replaced. There are, in any correction of an issue, there might be 6 to 7 ways to correct it. We're not going to tell you how to correct it, but this is an issue. You need to have it evaluated and you need to determine the proper way to correct it. And then we're going to look at it again. So yeah, the processes are there and we are improving them. That was one of the first things that Sean put on my plate at the beginning of my tenure here, was to get the inspectors, the quality of the inspections that we're doing, the consistency of our inspections, and to put the policies and procedures in place that don't have situations like this.
And how old's the building again?
I'm not 100% sure, but in my estimate would be probably, I would say between 40 to 55, looking at nothing other than the building.
Is there a penalty for apparent neglect of the building through codes?
There is an attempt to come to compliance first,
Okay.
And if compliance cannot be gotten through just working with the individuals, then yes, there are penalties for that.
Well,
But
no, I'm talking about.
in this case, no.
Apparently, it's the individual, apparently, the individual neglect of the building, okay? So there's no penalty for letting a building get to this condition.
Not that I can enforce. The only penalty would be the loss of a garage.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm just saying.
I think we have to go, well, my opinion is we have to go against Harb on this one and take your professional opinion for safety.
I agree.
Just going to add that real quickly that we did not have all the information. The committee actually recommended 3-0 to go along with Harb. And had we, to Mr. McGinnis's point, had the other side of the story per se, or the complete story, I should say, we probably would have made a different decision.
This was a save by our solicitor by asking that a question, and I could not honestly give him an opinion as to whether it's safe or not without going out and looking at it. It was after smart growth, so I apologize for not having that information to you earlier. But in our attempt to try to do it as best we could, we went back out and looked at it.
How fast can you issue a demolition contract to get this thing down?
I don't do that.
No, I meant a permit for demolition.
Permit that can be done relatively easily.
Okay.
They could probably get that done within a day.
Okay, all right.
So I would say that the Harb reason is probably appropriate, that it was neglected and the owner of the building neglected this, for sure. I mean, they're the only owners for like 100 years, right? Or close to it. So it's just to Aaron, to your point, it sounds like if we'd have caught it 10 years ago, maybe it would have been we're saving. And Bernie, to your point, we should probably do something to have ramifications against these neglects so it's not just a get out of neglect free.
You would have a lot of neglected
Possibly.
properties.
Yeah. But all that said, all right. So Sean, how are we supposed to do this?
So
Gary, how are we supposed to do this
I
one?
think what we do is for number one, which is the first five, we recommend a consensus, right? And then for the other one, I guess we would, I don't know.
Here we go, a negative.
No.
No. All right. So do we deny or do they?
I'm not hearing these. And Mr. Esty will help me if I get this wrong. The Harb had recommended to deny this, and what I would recommend is that you would be approving the request by the applicant to perform the demolition.
The code requires that the council consider the recommendations of the Harb at your meeting that follows their meeting. So they decided this in May, so you have to consider it in June. And that's why it's here this evening. So you don't have to obviously agree with the Harb. I think that's what I'm hearing. So it would be appropriate to put it on the agenda as a motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness to allow the demolition.
So do we put that on tomorrow night for discussion, motion to approve, and then discuss it for a couple of minutes and then basically move it to consent after that or vote on it that way? I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
If you need me here for that, I can be here for tomorrow's meeting.
Hopefully we know what we're doing tomorrow night.
I have a procedural question. I think we're all in agreement though. So could we not just put this in motion to approve on the consent agenda?
Are we allowed to flip it like that to straight to consent? Or is it easier, or is it more clear to do the discussion and then, yeah?
I think we've done the discussion.
I do want to.
At this point, I don't mean to step in, but the first first five were all approvals that Harb, so you can consent accepting the Harb recommendation. In this point, you're not accepting the Harb recommendation, so you would put it on probably for a motion. It would have to be accepted as a motion to approve it for certificate of appropriateness for demolition. That's
The
from what I
question is,
understand.
can we make that motion now, or do we have to wait until tomorrow?
I'm gonna leave that up to
I mean,
solicitor.
I think we can make that motion. I mean, any one of us can make any motion we want.
So my understanding is Harb makes a recommendation and we vote on whether we approve agree with their recommendation by voting for it or against it. in
Correct.
effect. And so in this case, we're just going to vote to approve the application.
Just to note that it wasn't on the agenda as an approval, and the agenda was advertised.
Right.
So I would recommend that you put it on tomorrow's agenda, as you suggested, with discussion, as discussion, and then a vote.
That way, in case somebody, from Harb wants to show up. Yeah.
But it's just
All
a
right.
cleaner action.
Discussion with approval as the, yeah. All right. And any comments from those in attendance?
And I agree with what they said, but again, to Aaron's point, to the point I raised, they should always check for safety reasons. The Harb should always do that because you all didn't have that information.
Apparently that's out of the scope of their purview though. I brought it up.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement. I mean, it should be.
The other thing they should have is a concrete
You gotta read
date,
it.
concrete date that makes something historical. Just because it's old doesn't make it historical. It's just old.
But I think it's because it's in that historical
I
district.
know, but that,
I hear you.
I disagree with that too.
Right.
That's why I was reconfirming like the date it was built. It wasn't like built in like 1850 or anything
No.
like that. It was built.
I'm sorry. And I think you know this, the reason it is reviewed and the only reason we have jurisdiction is because it's in the historic district. So if it's in that district, it's subject to the Harb evaluation. And I don't know whether you saw the memorandum that was prepared by Harb, but basically it appears to me that they were persuaded by the fact that it was demolished by neglect and they didn't want to authorize demolition based on the owner's negligence. And also that they noted that the garages in the historic district and accessory buildings are significant and that we should just demolish them when the owner wants to demolish.
Well, and that's where maybe later on we have a conversation of how we address the neglect. And that's why I asked some of the questions to Aaron about how are we trying to make sure that something like this doesn't get to this point in the future. So, yeah, understood on that one. But
There's a penalty for allowing your.
that's what, yeah. All right. But why don't we move this?
I think we covered it and I think we agreed on a path forward. So yes.
I got sledgehammer when you're at it.
All right, we're going to move on to the last one, ACT Committee.
All right, discuss increasing the compensation for the mayor and borough council pursuant to State Law Act 131. Basically, right now, council and the mayor each receive a stipend of $4,125. That used to be all that the state allowed, but about a year and a half ago, the state raised that cap, the minimum, to $6,915 for each council member and increased the potential mayor's cap to $8,400 based on the size of the borough. That represents about a 63% increase for council and 103% increase for the mayor. I honestly didn't even know we got paid when I ran for borough council, but in fact, by the end of the year, I will have been paid $4,125. Key point, it's not about me. It's not about anybody up here on this council. Any raise would only affect those who are elected from next year onward. Is there enough work to support that kind of increase? Absolutely. Am I opposed at this point? I admit I am. But I know there are people who feel very strongly for it, just in this budget environment right now. I just think increasing our own salary, even though it's not us, the principle is the same. I have difficulty doing that.
One point of clarification, this wouldn't go in effect until 2028. So that would be the next council.
Election.
Correct, for everyone in 2028, next council, next seating of council.
Only for them, though, not for
No,
us.
everyone, next seating of council.
I think the home rule charter says we can't increase our own. But regardless, even if it did affect me.
And constitutional. So it would only, if you decide to increase the compensation, that increase would only apply to persons that are elected after it goes into.
Okay, so it wouldn't be the next seating. So, but anyone that runs for reelection or is elected in 2027 and 2028, then they would receive that new compensation. Would that be correct?
Yes, so if you did, I don't know who's up then, but if one of you decided to run in 2028 and were reelected, you would be entitled to the increased compensation.
Got it.
Patrick, did the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania notify the borough at any given time that prior to Mr. McGinnis bringing this up, telling us that council was eligible for these pay raises? How do we get notification from the Commonwealth?
The Commonwealth doesn't do any notification of bills it passes. No,
Okay.
no, if that's.
All right, so we wouldn't have been notified in any way in 2024, 2025, that council could be eligible for $6,900.
Commonwealth wouldn't notify us.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
So thoughts? Increase, not, and just because we do it now, do or don't do it. If we don't do it now, we can look at it again next year. If we do it now, obviously it will take effect with the next folks who are elected. So some people would be getting still the 4 and some would be getting the 6. And we would have to decide also, do we want to effectively double the mayor's salary? And unfortunately, she's not here.
She said
And of course, both of those things have to be done by ordinance.
So I'm just going to repeat what I said in committee, which is, I don't think any one of us is here for the money. And like Lisa, I thought I was running for this office as a volunteer, in effect, unpaid. So it's obviously not what drove me to do it. And I'm sure it's not what drove any one of us to do it. And the differential is not going to be changing our lives in any way. And I don't see that that difference would really be enough of an encouragement to enhance the prospective field of candidates for these positions. So for me, I don't think it's a good look to raise our salaries, even if it's not actually impacting any of us at this point. I just don't think it's a good look to increase the budget when we're scratching around for pennies here and there everywhere.
I think it looks great. You know, council members put a lot of time, whether people see it or not. We put an average of 25 to 30 hours in a week doing what we do. And to the point that both council people, I didn't realize you got paid either, but my gosh, it's great for my golf game because I get, $897 every quarter. So, but as future things go on, the cost of living is a little bit tougher. And we're entitled to the Commonwealth has said council can raise their salaries, won't benefit me, but raise their salaries, be commensurate for the time that they spend doing what they do. There's a lot of time and a lot of energy that most people don't see that goes into this. And it's just a little compensation, I think, future council people should get.
I mean, my thoughts are the 4125 went into effect basically 20 years ago. That's when that, and, cost of living has definitely gone up, probably more than $2,000, dollars over those 20 years. And eventually some council has the opportunity to make this decision, and it's probably never a great time, right? But if you consider everybody asks for a raise all the time. We give raises to everybody on the borough admin, it's kind of a thing, right? Like, it's just like, that's the cost of doing business. And so I don't think that we should necessarily be ashamed for taking this information and putting it forth for future councils, knowing all of this. If there were raises 2 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever, it's like, but 20 years ago was when this amount was set into place. So whether it's the total cap, maybe it's not the total cap, but I think that there's a conversation there with regards to something, because again, as Bernie mentioned, there's a lot of, if you do this job right, you spend quite a significant of time, not just here in these meetings, but talking to residents and working through issues and situations and trying to do a lot of things for the community. And so it's worth a conversation, knowing that it's legal and it's out there and it's been 20 years. That's my opinion.
And I did also, I don't disagree with you. I did also look around at the other municipalities. West Whiteland has raised it to the cap. They have 3 supervisors. West Goshen has raised it to the cap. They have 5 supervisors. Tredyffrin, and it's actually not based on how much time we put in. It's based on strictly the size of the borough. Yeah, the population. Tredyffrin, which is bigger than us, their supervisors only get $3,000. Phoenixville, which is similar to us in the same, they get $200 a month, which is $2,400. So you can find it both ways, both those that have adopted it and those that have not.
Even West Goshen, the one woman asked for like benefits, like healthcare or something.
Yeah. West Goshen has topped out.
Yeah, she got Lauren Judge.
No, I'm
Yeah, I mean,
I'm waiting for Mr. Travis.
Yeah, he's seeing some gears turn. And
That's not.
they turning slowly. They sped up a little bit. Yeah.
Electricity's coming out.
I think the compensation part of this job, if you will, keeps people engaged, and we show up. I think just receiving the money makes us, even though I think we are all up here for altruistic purposes for the most part, we would do the job anyway. But I do think that accepting that exchange, knowing full well that our taxpayers are paying us very little money, but paying us, I think does something good for the job itself. So I'm kind of in the camp that the future councils may see this increase as, or potential increase, we decide to do this as similar. Like we're putting in their hands, we're giving them a raise already. And I do think I do think there are benefits attached to it, even though monetarily none of us are really, doing much with it. It's extra fun money, or you put it in your savings or IRA or something like that. But I'm kind of in the camp that I think we should do this for future council.
I agree that we should positively see this as a positive action to encourage voters perhaps to look at the situation under which we work. And I just think there's a time value to money and perceived value to the council. So I support adding a raise.
And I do too. I think this will help attract more quality candidates. I mean, one of the constraints here is the time. And then people ask, well, how much you get compensated? And then it's like, I'm not doing that, you know, for that amount of money. Mr. Estes laughing. He knows exactly. I mean, when we, you know, when Stephen was recruited, I mean, you were probably what, the third or fourth or fifth person they asked to do that.
Others of us did have competition.
Yeah, I mean, there was only, you know, one person. I remember when I did it.
Steve, the best hitter always bats fourth.
Yeah, I mean, no, but thing is though, it's no offense to you. It's to the point is that it's difficult to get people. When I ran the first time, Mr. Gailey didn't want to run again. He wanted to be with his family, and there's no one who wanted to do it in the third ward.
Well, there were people in my ward. I haven't contested race.
You've had one ward. To Jerry's point, I believe Bill Scott represented the first your ward for 16 out of the last 24 years because no one wanted to do it. And I do think that this could help.
Legal?
Well,
he stepped out.
He stepped down and he ran 8 years again. So the point is, I do think this will help attract quality people, working professionals that could earn a little bit more money. I mean, we have 4 retirees up here. That's quite all right. But I do think it could help. It could help people. It could help people more working professionals, people that want to get involved with their community, that look at that as a compensation structure and they may not be able to do it. And so I wouldn't be receiving this raise. Only, you know, the people that would be elected in 2027 and wouldn't go in effect till 2028. So my hope is that if we can do it, we have the ability to recruit better people that would want to invest.
I think I'm offended by that.
Well,
we need better.
Brian,
Sounds like they had the worst.
invest. That would want to invest their time in running for
Stephen,
council.
turn his
So,
mic off. It's not why you're ahead.
All right.
you know what I meant.
Yeah, so we have 4. So next steps, what do we vote on here? This was just a discussion. Do we take it back and then have okay, so.
I think you have 5.
You have 5.
5, all right, so we send it back to committee in order to draft
Do
an ordinance.
we want any public
We wanna
comment?
ask the
I keep
public.
forgetting.
All right.
There we go.
Oh, yeah, we got, okay,
Do you have to raise it to the max?
come on down, Deanna.
No.
Well, we'll still come on. Okay. All right, the
Yeah.
question was asked by Dave, and I'm going to botch your name again. Pension Dave, the guy that's definitely making it to the pension committee, Dave. He asked if we have to raise it to the max, and the answer is no.
The other item too is you could raise that incrementally over the years as well to get to that max. The max is by law, I believe, anywhere from 16 to 25,000, Mr. Metric, gets you to that number.
It's on the attachments that.
15 to 25,000 population.
Daryl Cook, South Walnut Street. Is this earned income? And
We pay taxes on it, yes.
and did
And
council
Daryl, as the 8th council member, you do not get a raise.
and as borough residents, did you say you were going to balance this by reducing this out-of-town staff member's salary? Thank you.
But that is a thought. We only have so much money and
Yeah, we have a budget.
moving forward, the budget is tight. We're going to be scraping every penny. We may not.
Not if you're relying on Barb.
Okay, so
Barb will find anything.
it sounds like send this back.
Yeah.
Oh, like, do you have a comment on a different thing? Send this back to the ACT committee
Yes.
for formulating and getting a number and what the word.
So you want us to formulate do it because we recommend not doing it, Or actually, it was 2-1, not
Actually
to
vote,
do.
but we agreed. There were two against and 1 for.
Right. So you want us to go back there and draft the ordinance for moving forward?
Right
Itself.
now, there's 4.
Five.
Five against, yes, that would prefer to have an ordinance drafted, so yes.
Got
So
it.
put on your big girl pants and start moving this forward. Yeah, okay.
I was gonna say, yeah.
All right, should we move it to another
Gonna
committee?
have to get over it.
Finance committee.
We need to get over it.
All right, so we're moving it back to act. Okay. All right, I think, yeah. So, all right, other business, who's got it?
I have something for other business. During the Public Works Committee meeting, we had some confusion about Friends of Everhart Park working on the gazebo down there. And the Friends of Everhart Park actually went to the Parks and Rec Commission, got a thumbs up. And the way the wording on the document during the committee meeting was under discussion. And what it should have said was motion to approve renovations of the gazebo in Everhart Park. And I want to bring that up to put that on the agenda for tomorrow, because the wording was incorrect during the committee meeting. It was under discussion and it should have been a motion to approve. Mr. Karowski, have any problem with that? Was that the way it was supposed to go? Yeah.
Say it again, Bernie, so I understand.
What happened was, it was the way it was on the agenda, the Public Works agenda was under discussion, but they had already gotten approval from Parks and Rec Commission, and they were coming here to have a motion to approve. And it got into a long discussion with Dale Friends trying to sell the job where it was already sold. So.
Yeah, because there was like information that was asked of him.
Yeah.
Does he have that?
Yeah,
information?
that's all handled. Yeah, that's on the insurance. Yeah.
So you're asking for it to go to discussion tomorrow, so that.
I think it needs to be a motion that you all agree to.
Here now? Okay. Guys, friends,
Make the motion.
I make a motion that we put on the agenda for tomorrow night under discussion, Friends of Everhart Park, motion to approve the renovation of the historic gazebo.
So moved.
Do we vote or we just say, oh, we're good with it and we move it? No. Okay.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you, Ms. Oste.
Thanks. Any other business?
Hey, sorry, I got to put on my journalist hat here for a second. So Kyle Hudson from the Westchester Chronicle. I'm looking at, so you guys are going really fast through these. So I'm looking at E, the Finance and Revenue Committee. Number 3, motion to approve purchasing requests. Number 1, Viper AI LLC. I did a quick research on that while I was sitting here. What are we buying for $11,200?
Those are plate readers, plate logic.
So are we buying cameras or is it software?
Question for Barb has it. There we go. I just shut my computer down.
It's the subscription software for that.
There we go.
So as far as I did, and again, I'm going to probably come back tomorrow more, but when the quick research I was able to do, it seems like what this software does is it will integrate all of our cameras and the police cameras into something like what Flock has set up, correct? So these are going to be turning all of our cameras in town essentially into Flock cameras. That's how I understand the software to work.
So are you concerned about something or do you?
I'm just asking, like, I'm trying to get more information on this because this is the first time I saw it. And it's like, why didn't this go through the administration technology?
We've approved this numerous times before on council. This is nothing new at all.
So this is a renewal of an already existing service?
The subscription.
And so this is an annual renewal?
I believe it is, yeah. I mean, we've approved this since I've been on council.
Yeah.
For years.
It's an annual
Is it annual?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's nodding her head.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing it, and this is something that I know a lot of people are interested
You
in.
stayed that long just to ask that question?
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
This is my job, man.
That said, if you need any more details about it, reach out to, council offline and we can.
I'll email Bernie, and he can. He's my council member.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. And any other business?
Happy Father's Day.
All right, 8:34. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.